watching NotesIn9.
Hello, and welcome to NotesIn9. I'm David Leedy. Episode 96, using Designer to search and replace rich client elements. New school meets old school. Okay, just before we get started, here's a slide of some of the links and websites that I provide to the community. And here's a slide of what the community provides to the community. So if you're looking to get started in XPages or something like that, there you go. Start from any one of those sites and go from there. Today's show, we've got Paul Withers rejoining us, which I'm very happy about. I had the pleasure of speaking with Paul at Lotusphere in 2011, I believe it was. Paul works at Intex Systems, and he maintains a blog, and he's an IBM champion, and he's hitting a lot of the lugs now because he's got a lot of great things to talk about. He does an OpenNTF, and at Intech, with him, you can do the mentoring thing. So if you're looking for help with XPages, you can put him on your list, or just go right to him and talk about engaging him for a mentoring relationship, and he can help you with questions and with projects and or whatever else it is they do over there at Intech. But he is an XPages expert and a key guy. He's really good at Dojo integration with XPages and things that relate to Dojo and the JSF life cycle. So some kind of like really high-end, deeper stuff. Even data context, I hear. But that's for another time. So at this Lotusphere, which is not called Lotusphere anymore, it's called IBM Connect, Paul is going to be presenting a session with Mike McGarrell, and I have the pleasure of working with Mike McGarrell in the day job. And both of them are going to present a session called It's Not Herculean, 12 Tasks Made Easier with XPages. And as long as I'm not speaking at the same time, I'm going to be in the first row of that session because, quite honestly, I do things in XPages that are probably pretty dumb and pretty difficult. And if there's anything that can make life easier, I'm going to be there to learn what that is. So I'm very much looking forward to this session. And I know Paul and Mike will do a good job. And Mike, if you're watching this, just don't let Paul put like some kind of weird headband on you like he did with me. So, okay, anyway, what we are going to talk about today is Domino Designer for Eclipse. And what Paul has really kind of been doing some stuff with is using some of these new tools that are given to us in Designer and applying them to the old tools like forms and views and action bars and stuff. Basically, Paul's going to demonstrate a couple different scenarios for us, and he's going to show you how to search, use Domino Designer to search the old school, the classic that I like to call it, but the non-XPages design elements like action bars and views and forms and agents and stuff like that. So he's going to go through how to search that, and you can actually do some replacement and editing right then and there, and it's all free. It comes with you, comes to you from Eclipse. There are third-party tools that might be nicer depending on your need. Team Studio has something. Wytria has something. Martin Scott has some really good tools that I like, and they might be better for batch processing or just for pretty. But if you just need something quick and down and dirty for something, then you can just go into Designer and follow this demo. So, okay, with that being said, let's go to the demo.
My name's Paul Withers from Intex Systems Limited, and although I do a lot of blog posts and speak at conferences about XPages, I still do a lot of traditional Notes Domino development. And some of the skills that you pick up from XPages are transferable back into traditional Notes Domino development, and one of those will be a key part of this video. Now, since 8.5.0, Domino Designer has been built upon Eclipse, and that brings a couple of additional tools to the party that I'm going to cover in this video. First one of those is the search. Now, if you're used to the old design synopsis under Domino Designer, that wasn't particularly useful. This search, however, is considerably more useful. The file search is the one that you're going to want to use most of the time. So, the first box that we have is for the text that you want to search for, and you can define it as case sensitive if you wish. You can also add wildcard operators in there to help if you're not quite sure. And if you're comfortable with regular expressions, then you can use those as well. The second box starts to add a lot more power to it. Now this box retains its value from the previous search. If you're using this for the first time, then you'll just see star.star, and that will search all files within the database. So that will be views, forms, any note within the database. If you click on choose, then you can start to refine that a bit more. So this looks a bit scary for a start, but if you just have a look at some of the names, then it becomes apparent what it's referring to. Some of them are not, because this is built upon Eclipse, they're not all Domino development specific. So Ant files are specific for building projects. They're not going to be relevant to Domino development. The most regularly used ones that you're going to want to search for in a NSF are fairly straightforward. So star.column, that's going to be a shared column. CSS star sheets, and so you can work them out by looking at the names. FA is formula agent. Field, a shared field. Folder, form, frame set, they're all fairly straightforward. JA, Java agent, JavaScript library, client side that is. JSS, a server side JavaScript library. .lsa, Lotusphere agent. LSS, Lotusphere script library. SHAC, shared action, for example. So you can start to refine it down. So if we search just on form, and then at the bottom here we've got scope. Now it's worth bearing in mind that the Eclipse search can only search through open projects or open NSFs. That doesn't mean that it's open on the server anywhere. It means that you've opened it within Designer and not closed it down. So you can usually tell those in the application navigator because they've got the icon for the database as opposed to this 3-box database icon. Bear in mind that if you select workspace, it's not just going to search through the current working set that you're on. It's not going to search through just what you see on the left hand side here in the applications navigator. It's not going to search through your notes workspace. It's going to search through all the databases that you've got open in that session in Domino Designer. Working set allows you to choose a working set to search through, and selected resources, well, that allows you to select resources most usually in something like the application navigator or package explorer, but you could select a number of views and do the search just on those. We've got a button just to do the search, and then you see the search results down at the bottom in the search view. But there's also this replace, and that really adds a lot of power. So you can choose what you want to replace your search criteria with. Now if you want to replace all of those without looking at them, you can click OK. That might be useful if you want to refactor, but usually you want to check first, and that's where this preview box becomes really useful. It brings up something similar to if you've used the compare with functionality that comes with Eclipse, or the local history option, then you'll have seen something like this. It's the same kind of criteria. You've got the options that you can step through and see on the left the original source, on the right what the refactored source is going to be. So this match, for example, kind equals editable, obviously that's going to be a field. I don't want to change the name of the field, I just want to change the name of the label. So I can just tick that one. And there's an option to update the file search results. Obviously you probably do want to do that. So click OK, and now if I open that form, then the label is now telephone, the field is still phone. So that becomes extremely useful for refactoring code in your database, searching for field names in forms and not views, for example, and so on. But what about if you want to actually look at that content? Well, if you double click bar, then it opens a kind of XML style editor, text-based editor that is a bit hard to work with. You can work it out, but there isn't any nice styling to help. There isn't any nice formatting. You're kind of limited. But you're only limited because that's the default editor that's opened. If you go to File, Preferences, and under General, Editors, File Associations, then this top box will look familiar. .form, we can specify the associated editor for that. So if I select the XML editor and click Default, that's now set as the default. It's only the default from Eclipse based editors, so it's only the default for the search or from the Package Explorer. If I open it from the view of forms within the database, then I still get the normal editor that we're used to. But now if I open it from the search, now we've got some nice formatting. We've also got the outline view here to navigate through, and we've got a design pane. As I mentioned earlier, this is one of those areas where experience of XPages starts to repay its benefits in traditional Notes Domino development. If you're used to the source pane in XPages, you're used to XML, that's what we're seeing here. On the design pane, then we can see the various options in a more hierarchical layout. If you wanted to, you could add attributes, add children, remove options from there. But equally you can do it from this source pane. Now that's useful if you just want to look through it, but it also has an added benefit. This form has a table, and it's quite a sophisticated layout. We've got three columns per row, and for each of the fields we've got one row that's quite small, one row that's larger, and another small row with a border on it. If I want to add a mobile field to that, for example, it starts to become a bit fiddly in this normal editor. However, this is where the XML editor starts to become much more useful. Now I can click on there and open it up, and we can, because this is the source pane, we can copy and paste the DXL. Now one of the things that you might want to do is, as with XPages, Control-Shift-F formats it. Now one of the things with that is something that I've come across, is if I then copy and paste content. So if I copy and paste 3 table rows, so there's the second one and there's the third one. So if I copy all of that and paste it, then the error that I get is this base 64 byte string contains invalid data or is too large to store in a single note item. That's because I've done the formatting first. If you want to copy and paste details around here, you can't format it first. Formatting is great if you're doing searching or just looking through it, but if you're wanting to do any editing, don't do that formatting. You'll also notice that it's thrown an error in the project now, and even though I'm back in the same form originally, it's still got that error in the project. Just to get around that, all you need to do is Control X to cut the form, Control V to paste it back in, and the problem's gone, and you're still back with that original form. But just to make that change to add another column, another row there, I can go to the Package Explorer and open it from there. That gets me that that same XML editor that I got from the search view. Control F to jump down to phone. I can see in the outline here, I can select the 3 rows. Now I can't copy them from there, I can only remove, but I can select them there. Equally, I could go here into the design pane, select them there. Whoa, not quite sure what happened there, but hopefully it won't be terrible. We'll see in a moment. I can go onto the source pane then, copy it, just go to the start of the next table row and paste that in. Now, of course, this is DXL, it's a form, and forms can't have 2 fields with the same name. So I just need to go up and find the field name for phone. Let's just do a search. Change that to mobile and change the field name to mobile. And when I save that, now it's saved fine. If I go back into the form, now I've got my mobile row. Now that's very useful, but we can take that a step further. So if I look at that form in the Notes client, you can see I've got this basic view. If I open it up, I've got quite a fancy action bar. Wouldn't it be easy? Wouldn't it be great to be able to easily put that style of action bar onto the view as well? Now, if you had those 2 design elements open, going to the action bar, checking all of it is, and opening the view, and looking at the properties there as well, and comparing each of the tabs, you'll notice that you need to keep switching the properties box. It's a real pain. Let me just add my first action in there, because the action bar isn't actually stored in the DXL and won't actually show up unless there's an action. Now if I go to the view, it's got that boring old action bar. However, if I open the form in the DXL, and let's just format that so that it's easy to find action bar, and if I copy that action bar up to the first action, now if I open the view, then it's opening in this new editor because that's what I opened it in last. Otherwise you could go to open with an XML editor or set that as the default in the file associations, and you get this layout. Let's just search for action bar. There's our action bar down to the first action. Paste that in. Just get rid of the extra white space. Save that. Now when we go to our view, just need to close the database or just switch a view just to reload the view, and now we've got that nice action bar very quickly. Now there is third-party software out there that can do that kind of thing and much more, but if you haven't, then Eclipse brings some of that additional functionality to the party for you to use as and when you wish. Thank you.
And that's the demo. I thank Paul for coming on. And you know how when you go to a James Bond movie, they always say at the end, James Bond will return? Well, I'm hoping Paul will return, and I'm hoping he's going to return in this particular show, Introduction to Data Context, because he's been promising me that for quite some time now. So I'm just trying to put the bug in his ear that he needs to come back and actually do that, because quite honestly, I don't know what a data context is, and I'd like to find out for myself. And I know other people are using them, and they seem pretty important to me, and I just haven't figured it out yet. So anyway, Paul, here's hoping to see you soon. For my contact information, here it is, and I do thank you for your time.